got a little bit of something different today. Look at this, I've got a mobile camera. Makes a change, doesn't it? This is, I thought you'd like to see, basically, I thought you'd like to see where I'm working now. You saw me for a month working in my little studio outside with my green screen behind me and everything. And if you were watching then, you'll realise that this is very different now because I had to move inside because the broadband just stopped working out there. So this is where I've always done my music. This is my music studio area. And so I have this strange mixture of things. And I thought you might like to see. Here we go. I'll just pull back a little bit for you and you can see where I'm actually working now. And it's a right hybrid, let's say, because we've got the desk here with everything set up on it, but also I've had to move my keyboard to the side here, and we've got all the guitars sitting over here behind me, so everything's had to sort of become a strange creative hybrid space. And I thought I'd just show it to you. You know, I've got the studio monitors there either side of the screen. I've got my microphone here by my side on a stand. Now the microphone would have always been on a boom arm, so that's actually now been taken over to put on a camera, which gives you the overhead shot that you see when I'm painting. I've got a couple of daylight bulbs which are lighting up the painting, which is down here. On the top there we've got an audio interface, you can see that there. That's got the microphone plugged into it, and the camera that you can see there is hanging over the top of the screen, which you will see me on in a moment. Down here we have my we have my tablet, which is what I will be using to paint from. Let's get the picture on it. There's the picture that I'm working on. And here is the painting. And you can actually, because I've got it like this, you know, a close-up view of things. You can see here the way I've done the wall of the building, which was great fun to do. I really love doing that sort of thing. We got the old brickwork of the wall, so it's all sort of different tones, which is nice. And then the sign on the side, which was really enjoyable to do. This is where I was working yesterday. If you were watching yesterday's, down here underneath the canopy on the porch there. Today I'm going to be working on this area here, where we've got the characters, where we've got the people. You can just see the faint outline there. There's a woman and there's a man serving her. I think that's a woman over there, adjusting some vegetables on the top, and all these vegetables to paint. So that's what I'm going to be working on this afternoon. Over here, this will be for tomorrow and maybe the next day. This is under the porch and Lulu herself. I'm only working in short sessions at the moment. I'm going to be probably on for about an hour and a half. Basically because I don't want to push my back too far. Don't want to set it backwards. So that's the picture. That's it there on the screen. You can see down here. You can see the people. That's what I'm going to be working on today. This area down here. Right. I just thought you might enjoy seeing that. So, oh, and of course, most important of all, the obligatory cup of tea. There we go. So, let's go back to the front camera. There I am indeed. Let's put this one down. Let's get rid of the connection there. Don't want that to be connected up. Oh, that would just a little bit of fun there, something a bit different. You might notice in this studio we are a lot closer to the main road, which is just the other side of this window here. So you may get more traffic noise as I'm talking. I hope it doesn't bother you too much. We didn't get that in the other studio. We were isolated more, but it's actually just been pouring down with rain outside, and so the ground is very, very wet, so you can hear every car that goes past. It's just that's just the way it is. We'll just have to put up with that. This isn't about sound recording. This is about painting, and that's what we're going to do. Okay. So, yesterday you saw me. Let's go to the overhead picture. Let's actually look at the full painting. Yesterday you saw me work on this area here, and just steadily working away at it. It's nice because you've got the wall here and everything, but once you go under this canopy, there's not much light under there. It goes quite dark under this canopy. So we've got the same sort of thing. We've got the brickwork and all that sort of thing, but it's going to be much more laid back under there. And it's dark under here too, under this canopy, which is nice because it highlights over here. When we actually come to paint Lulu in over here, she's going to stand out, and she is the focus of the painting. This is about Lulu in Musella. So, right, so what we're going to do, we're going to crack on. Let's go to that one. We have the chat room open, so if anybody is there and if you'd like to say hello, please say hello. It would be great actually if you did say hello on the chat, because at the moment I've no idea whether it's working properly, because since I moved in from the studio outside, I've had to come in and set it all up on this computer rather than the one that's in the studio. So this is a whole new setup that I'm working with here, and as yet, oh, hello, somebody said hello, it's working. Hello there, Marshaz. Nice to see you there. It's that's good to know that the chat is actually working. Well, you know, the chat that comes up on the screen here, I need to mess about with that. This type is really small text, but I can see you on my chat screen that I've also got open at the same time. So you are watching me on Twitch. Hello there. Nice to see you. Whereabouts in the world are you? That's what always fascinates me. Where everybody is. Alright, so let's start off. Let me just zoom in on my tablet here that I'm working on. And I think I'm going to start off over here. Am I? Or am I going to start off over here? It's very tempting to start off over here because that's a bit easier. But maybe I should just work this direction. Let's see. In Brunei, my goodness, I've never had anybody from that part of the world come on chat to me so far, so that's great. Thank you very much. I'm glad you like my art. It's great to see people coming on from all over the world. Twitch, it seems to be the place for that, I must say. Most of the people that come on to me from the USA and that direction seem to come on Facebook, but since I've been on Twitch, people are talking to me from all over the world, which is really nice. I should imagine the weather in Brunei is an awful lot nicer than it is here today, as it is absolutely raining cats and dogs, as they say. It's pelting down. So what I'm just doing here is people find it odd that I do this. And I actually work in, because everybody's taught when they start learning to paint that we should go from, with watercolour, we should go from light to dark, and it's like made as a rule that you should never break, you should never not go the other way. And I know what they're trying to say, and it's to a great degree, and it's true. If you're working with oil paints, you put your darks down first, and you can put the white paint and everything on top of it. With watercolour, of course, you don't have that. With watercolour, it's very much a thing that you save the white of the paper for your lightest lights, and you go darker stage by stage. But what I find, especially in an area like this, that is going to need a certain amount of soft edge to the sort of delineation between the melons by the looks of it, or gourds, I'm not quite sure. Might be squashes. I think they are squashes actually. But what I find it is that if you lay these darks in first, once you start to put in the other colours, you'll find that the darks will blend slightly into the other colours, and it'll all soften. And that's what I want it to do. I want it to soften. So not to actually So what I like to do, and it's just one of the things that's quite difficult when you're working on this sort of subject, where you've got basically lots of things that are very similar to one another. These fruits are all pretty much identical. Where they are different is the amount of light that's on them. And what you do need to do is to find yourself a way of mapping your way around the painting. I've got them all drawn out here, but so finding the darkest darks and just popping them in here and there is a way of sort of creating a map so that you can actually see your way around the pile of fruit. So this is just a bit of this pure Payne's grey here on the brush. And Payne's grey is nice with this sort of thing because you can put it on it nice and dark like this, but you can actually, when I actually start working on it and putting the vegetables in individually, you will be able to see the Payne's grey blend into the into the background. One thing that I think is important to sort of point out to people and let people actually see when they're watching this sort of thing is that the temptation might be for some people to actually go at this point to a small brush, to a smaller brush. But what you actually are better off with is a brush like this that has got a lovely point to it. You can see here, let me put it against the white of the paper. You can see there this brush points beautifully. It's not an expensive brush. It's not a sable. It's man-made fibres, nylon or whatever. It's a cheap brush, but this particular one points beautifully, and because of that, you can do a lot of work without actually having to go back to the palette. Oh, well, I need to put some down there as well. Let's take a little bit of and do these couple down here as well. That's good. Right, so what's the time there in Southeast Asia then? I mean, you must be getting quite late over there. It's what's the time here? It's 23 minutes past 2 here in the afternoon. So just right, we've got some mixture of transparent yellow with a little bit of the what I like to call the dirty paint, the paint that's been on the palette here, just sitting here, some of which has actually been here for a month or more. But where's my 9:23 p.m. My goodness gracious me! It amazes me how I can sit here and I can chat to people. I can chat to you, and it's nearly 9:30 at night. But sometimes I'm chatting to somebody in India or in Australia. Sometimes I've had people on from Australia, and then you get people on in America at the same time, and of course it's morning for them. That's good, that's good. Thinking about it, that might be a good idea. Each one of these squashes has got the little dot on it where the stalk was, and if I just mark that first, then it'd be like a little target for each one. So do you paint yourself, Marshaz, or are you just like watching? All right. How long did it take me to become good at painting? Well, you can tell by looking at the picture there that I'm not young. I've been, oh blimey. I started to take painting seriously in my late 20s, early 30s. So around about the time I was about 28, 29, I started to take painting seriously. I have now been painting for, well, I'm 64 now. How long did it take to get good? I don't know whether I'm good yet, am I? But I would say that it was a good sort of 5-6 years before I really started to find my style. I tried, in that time I tried all sorts of different things, trying to find what was me and how I liked and how I liked to apply the paint and that sort of thing, and the sort of subjects that I like as well. At first I would paint absolutely anything just to because I didn't really know at that time what was my thing. But eventually it all comes, if you just keep at it, it just comes naturally. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I still like watching people paint. It's one of my favourite things. I'll often put on YouTube and just sit and watch somebody paint something. There's always something to learn. No matter how long you've been doing it, there's always something to learn. Put a little bit of the new gamboge down here to warm it up a little bit. And of course on the back here, as it starts to disappear into the shadows, we got green. I don't worry about that at all, because I'm not sure what language you speak in Brunei, but I wouldn't know where to begin. So the fact that you think your English is bad, it's not bad at all. I understand everything you're saying. Don't you worry. Um, I I is it learning from school? I sort of when I was a teenager and I was at school, I was very lucky to have a very good art teacher come to the school, and that was where my interest really got sparked in what was that we used to call it the third year of secondary school. Now they call it year 9 over here. I don't know what you call it over there, but I would have been probably about 14, 13, 14, and we had a new teacher come to the school, and he was wonderful. Mr. Simcock, Alan Simcock, he was a wonderful man. I loved him to bits. And all of a sudden, colour came into life when he came to the school. And I spent a lot of time, well, basically all my time and the rest of my time at high school in the art room, because I just loved being there and I loved doing stuff and all that sort of thing. I was only doing school type stuff. I wasn't any great sort of creative or whatever, but I just loved it. And then I went into the sixth form. I went to a sixth form college, and I did art there for 2 years. I did textile design as well. And that was good. That was good. That was good. Sort of. They taught as well. Put it that way. I always felt that they gave us a good grounding. We painted from a model twice a week, and and they would, they taxed us in what we did and didn't let us get away with just messing about and everything. So it was good. It was very enjoyable. Then I went to do a degree, but by that time I got mad interested in drama. So I did a degree in drama and art, but I really concentrated mostly on the drama, and I sort of, my interest in the art faded. I was more interested in doing drama and being in plays and all that sort of thing. And so I left that course halfway through. I didn't complete it, and I went to work in the theatre. And I worked in the theatre for 10 years or more. And at that time, I didn't paint at all. I really, the only thing I painted in that entire time was a giant cornflake box, a giant cereal box, for a pantomime. I stopped doing that, and I really got into painting properly when I was about 29, 30. And I always found that's when I started to learn, because at school they teach you some things, and they teach you different things, but they didn't teach oil painting, they didn't teach watercolour painting. And what do most of the time? I do oil painting and watercolour painting, and they didn't teach that. So all my everything that I do now, really, an awful lot of it is self-taught. An awful lot of it is by looking at works by great artists, really, and working out what they did and how they did it. And going to I mean, at that time there was no no internet, there was no YouTube to learn from, and so there was an awful lot of reading, an awful lot of looking at books. I got book after book after book of about impressionism and about different techniques and all that sort of thing. I was really mad on the impressionists. I really, I suppose I still am. I love the work of the impressionists, Degas and Monet and all the rest. But and now, all these years on, as far as I'm concerned, I'm still learning. There's always more to learn. There's always new things to find and new things to try. If you want a little bit of advice, I would say this. I would say that when it comes down to it, yes, learning techniques and all that sort of thing is absolutely great. It's important. It's important to know what you're doing. It's important to learn how to apply paint and all the rest of it. But one of the most important things is learning how to see. I think what sets an artist apart from other people is the fact that the artist sees the world differently, sees the world in their own way. And I think you have to start learning how to see things. I'm floundering a little bit here to try and express it. Let's put it this way. I think one of the greatest exercises that you can do when you're learning to paint is you go and you set yourself down in front of a tree. And set yourself down in front of a tree and look. But not at the tree. Look at what's around the tree. Look at the shape of the things that are around the tree. And so what they call negative space. Look at, if the tree's in front of a building, look at the brickwork of the building. Look either side of the trunk of the tree and draw the brickwork. And you will start to define the tree by what's around it, because that's really, really, as far as I'm concerned, that this is important. You've got to realise that things aren't lines. Lines only appear. Lines only appear when two shapes meet. When two shapes meet in your eye line, there will be a line formed in between them. But it's not a line, it's not like a pencil line or whatever. It's where things change from one thing to the next. This is three-dimensional and looks three-dimensional because one side is light, one side is in shade. And the way the light changes creates a line. But nowadays you have a distinct advantage that we didn't have when I was learning, and that's this. It's watching on the internet, it's watching people paint, it's watching what they're doing, you know. Watch the people who've worked out how to do it show you how to do it. Now I've committed a cardinal sin here, I've just realised. Letting my tea go cold, that's no good. Ah. Let's just add a little bit more colour to areas down here just to warm them up a little bit. Now this one, put this one in. You're checking out my website, cool. Isn't it amazing that we can do this nowadays? It's amazing that you are all the way over there, hours and hours ahead of us, and you're chatting to me and you're going and looking at my website. I think it's the world's an amazing place. Now what we've got here is a situation that is okay. Starting to be able to I want to be able to distinguish the individual squashes here in this pile, and the fact that the light is coming from a particular direction and hitting them as well. So what I'm doing to a great degree is I am looking at each individual squash, not treating them as a pile as much as looking at each individual one and studying how the light's hitting it. Etc. Right. How am I doing? Well, it all depends. To be perfectly honest, it's very difficult to say in terms of days because some days it'll all depend on what I'm working on. See, a painting like this takes a long time. The technique that I use to do this sort of painting is very labour intensive, really, because I'm spending a lot of time looking at everything in detail. It's like at the moment they I've lost, to be honest, I have lost track of how many hours I've worked on this so far. It's been a difficult month because I've had back trouble and I've had internet problems and I've had all sorts of things. So it's had quite a few hours work on it already. It's quite a lot more. It would normally have been finished a lot quicker than it is being. But it's, if you're looking at my website there, you'll see, if you're looking at the pictures of the small pictures of the Volkswagens um, and the cars, each one of those most of those are 7 inches by 10 inches, and they all took around about a day's work. So they all took rather somewhere between 6 to 8 hours to complete. This you can see is an awful lot bigger. This is 18 inches by 10 inches, so it takes a lot longer. But if you look at the website there, you'll see there's a picture of me. There's a picture that I did, and it's a hairdresser cutting a boy's hair. And there's another boy sitting in the background. That's my stepsons, and that painting took about a month to paint, of fairly constant work as well. So this is one of the problems. This is one of the problems when you're trying to make a living out of art. If you were to so I do the small ones, because the small ones, that people can afford the small ones. These ones like this, really and truly, the amount of time that it takes to do, really and truly, they ought to cost an awful lot more than I've been charging, because they take a long time. It's been one of the things actually with regard to going online and streaming and that sort of thing, because I did wonder whether anybody would actually watch. Yeah, that's actually in the other room, hanging on the wall. But It's one of my best paintings. I love that painting, I must say. I exhibited that painting in London at the Royal Society of Painters and Watercolours. It got into their open exhibition one year, which was nice. But it's a keeper. I mean, that's our lads. So. Actually, interestingly, the boy that you see there sitting um, on the bench behind the hairdresser, that's Matthew, and Matthew is actually um, he's a very good artist. He's got a feel for it. Um, he's in his early 20s now. That was painted a few years back, but he's talented. He's a talented musician as well. Um, and James, the one who's having his hair cut, and James is very much into anime and Japanese. Everything Japanese really, but he's got a good hand. He can draw anime very well. And how's it coming? It's coming. Ah. So Marshaz, is that your name or is that your handle? Is that just your username or whatever? I like to know because quite often the usernames are nothing to do with people's real names. Aha. So what's your name then? I don't like to. I like to know who people actually are. Ziril. Am I saying it correctly? Ziril sounds. Or is it Zirul? Ziril? I got it right. Oh, that's good. Sometimes the people say it comes up on the screen, and I have no idea how to pronounce it, and then I embarrass myself by trying. But I'm guessing you're quite young. Some of the quite a lot of the people who chat to me on Twitch are younger than the people who chat to me on Facebook or on Twitter or whatever. tree. And then that one there. That's another bright yellow one. It's nice. It's much nicer when people come on and actually chat to me while I'm painting. It's much more enjoyable. I like it very much. Yesterday was my first time online for about a month because I had technical problems and back problems and all sorts of things. And I spent an hour and 3/4 talking to myself. Nobody actually came on and engaged. But it's nice because you come on right at the very beginning, which makes it much more enjoyable sitting and actually conversing with somebody. I make friends from all over the world doing this. It's nice. So what's it like where you live in Brunei then? Do you live in the city or do you live in the countryside? Or? I was born in the middle of a town, but where we live now is in the countryside, which is nice. I find it is probably the most relaxing thing that I can do is to paint. When I paint, all the troubles of daily life and all the troubles of the world just disappear into the background, and it's all about just me and the paint, and I like that. If life gets stressful, pick up the paintbrushes. Or pick up a guitar, that does the same job. What's the time? 7 minutes past 3, okay. These are taking me much longer to paint than I anticipated, but that's alright. Oh, they're coming. It's interesting being able to look up onto the screen and see what you're seeing, because I'm just looking at the painting all the time. This is sort of slightly wrong here. Let's put one in that shouldn't be there. Bear with me for a moment, I'm just going to stretch my legs. It's not good to sit here too long without moving. I'm just going to get up and walk around for a minute. Have a little look at what I've been doing. It's always good to get up and walk away from the painting now and again. And that way you get to see with different eyes. It looks different. Not bad. All right. Early classes. Okay, I understand. Well, I'll be here again tomorrow. If you're around tomorrow, you can always pop along and see how it's getting on, and see how it's working out for you. Okay, see you again. Strings are dead. Right. Let's finish these babies off. These want to go even darker. Let's raise them down a little bit. Sitting in the corner, feeling pretty fine. Red hot woman, cold, cool wine, ice bloom music, and the lights down low. I'm telling you, mister, there's no place I'd rather go. Uptown, downtown, cross town, through town. Your town, my town, old town, new town. Midnight in the city. It's a place for me. Telling you, mister, there's no place I'd rather be. Sitting in the corner, feeling pretty good. If the devil's gonna take me, I wish he would. 'Cause if hell's like this, it's the place for me. You can't keep your halo. Give me liberty. Yep, if there's anybody else out there that feels like chatting, that feels like saying hello, please don't hold back. I don't bite. Quite friendly. I enjoy talking to people as I paint. It's a nice thing to do. What should we talk about now then, eh? We can talk about painting and there we go. Let's get in there. It's quite nice actually, I don't mind that as a... You can tell what it is. Maybe it wants warming up a little bit, we'll have to see. Maybe if I just warm up the... A touch of new gambos here and there just to... Oh, not like that. Much too dark. little bit of the few of the details in here. That's good. Now then, let's just get that man's shirt in. Let's some green, some yellow to it on that edge. Can't actually see very clearly where the woman's head goes. I've just lost it in there, in the painting of the thing. Now I look up at that screen sometime and there's a little box down under the chat and there's a little eye symbol there and it says 2 people are watching, but I don't actually know whether that's true, because when I get my like statistics sent to me at the end of the session, there's always been a lot more than that watching, so that box is a bit of a killer. But it does note, so just let me see that there are at least a couple of people out there watching. So hello to you people out there. I hope you're having a good day, good night, wherever you are in the world. I've been talking to Zirol in Brunei for the past hour or so, which is rather enjoyable. But such is the way of the world and everything, Zirol's just had to go to bed because it's getting late over there. Here where I am in the UK, it is now 25 minutes past 3 in the afternoon. It'd be nice to let me know where you are in the world. That's always a thing that I find fascinating. I get people going on to chat with me and they can be absolutely anywhere. I think it's absolutely fascinating. I really do. when I first started streaming, it was only a couple of months ago, it wasn't that long ago, when I first started this live streaming thing, I had no idea at all that people would be watching from all over the world, and I find that absolutely fascinating. Now here I am sitting in my little studio here in Cheshire, in the middle of England. And there are people out there who can see what I'm doing all over the world. And for everybody that's there, it's a different time of day or it's a different time of night. It's fascinating. So we go to pile of watermelons, I suppose. Actually, I should probably stop now for a little while. I've been sitting here doing this for an hour and a half, and it's probably best to give my back a rest and go in and carry on and do something else. I shall be back here maybe later, actually. Maybe I'll come back and do another stretch, but I will certainly be back here tomorrow at a similar sort of time. And so if any of you would like to join me, I'd be only too happy to paint while you watch and chat to you. Sometimes it's hard to say which I enjoy the most. Is it the chatting or the painting? Right, brush is going down. I am now going to call it a day at that. Well, call it a session at that. And be back probably later and do a little bit more. Until then, cheerio, have a nice day, have a nice night, have a good morning, wherever you are in the world, whatever it is, have a good one, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.